Google Stadia's words get misconstrued all over again, all through the media. But whose fault is it this time? Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another video. Do me a huge favor before we get into this Stadia dosage. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when your boy's dropping these doses. I appreciate all of y'all straight up, because y'all know the slogan, I am not too proud to ask. Let's get into it. Okay, so I had a fantastic sit down with my good friend Duncan, also known as 12escape, on Twitter and on Reddit. He is a contributor to StadiaSource.com and a big time staple within the Stadia community. So we sat down for damn well 2.5 hours, you know, talking all things Stadia, and honestly, we could have went 2.5 more. You know what I'm saying? We were going over the state of the whole Stadia platform, how it's being perceived in the media, and actually whose fault it is. And Duncan has a very interesting take on it that I was, you know, absorbing, you know, pretty much, because he's far well versed in the community than I am. And he's doing a lot of great things behind the scenes, like Super Saturday coming up in February, where we're going to do 24-hour Stadia streaming and a host of other good things. So definitely check him out. He's a fantastic guy, and I enjoy always tapping his brain for what's going on in the community. His interesting take is, even though a lot of this rhetoric that's coming from the Paul Tassies, the Yang Ye's, and whoever, even though it's over the top and it's inaccurate and in a lot of ways it's a farce, it's Stadia's fault. Because Stadia, if they catered their message a lot better, that they wouldn't be in these situations. So I sat back and I listened and I absorbed what he said, and I said to myself, you know what, he's right. You know, he's right that Stadia is putting a target on their back as they move around, because they're not taking the mind share in the messaging game seriously. It's like what they're doing in a lot of regards is, this period is early access, it's a beta. They're trying to collect data. They're trying to collect data and prepare for when they launch and get ready for the consoles before next generation. And they're going to do bare minimum at this point in time. That was the thesis of our whole discussion, is circling around that narrative. And I was saying to myself, you know what? I may not agree with everything, but he's pretty much right. However, there comes a time when, even if that is the case, you can't look at the entity that's screaming media bias, which would be Google at this juncture. You can't even look at the people that are negligent of the bias, which are these puke pundits. You have to look at the unsuspecting gamer who shouldn't be caught up in the middle of any of this. All they're trying to do is find the best way that suits them to play their games. That's all they're trying to do. And we have one side that isn't taking the messaging seriously, and we have another side that's taking the message seriously, but in the wrong way, in the most repugnant ways possible. Okay, now what am I talking about? I'm talking about, you see this article here on the screen? It's a result of a Reddit post that was placed in the Stadia Reddit, where people were showing angst over a lack of details in regards to forthcoming games. In January 2020, there were no new games released on Stadia, which again is unacceptable. Okay, definitely is unacceptable. They should either stagger what they had in their lineup, did a better job of getting ports like BioShock the Collection would have been great on the system, Remnant, whatever they should have done better to work this out earlier. I get where there were some delays to games like Doom that affected their ability to have games launch, but you should always have a serious backup plan, and it just shows it pulls the layer back to show that there's some lack of engagement there. Just slightly, just ever so slightly, right? So they went to Reddit, a lot of these people, And again, you know what? I'm assuming that these are Stadia owners. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Stadia Reddit is very suspect, okay? I went and did the infamous compare video where I compared Stadia's performance with Destiny 2 to Xcloud. It's air apparent that Stadia is leagues and runs circles around Xcloud. I posted it with some Xbox friends of mine, staunch console fanboys. They saw it. And I also posted it in the Reddit. When I showed the Xbox fanboy friends of mine, some of the most famous entities you all may know, they were like, man, MM2K, that was cold, brother. Why did you do that, man? That was horrible, right? Why you do us like that? And then they went back and had to pronounce that Stadia, you know, now it works. All of us miraculously it works, and you know it's not that, but they got to get game. They went and changed their whole tune, rather. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say in so many words. But when I dropped it in the Reddit, they were like, "No, you got those results because the ping from the towers of the North Fourth Hour." They were giving me the most ridiculous redhead kingpin quotes and raps and solo. I don't know what the hell these people were reciting here in this Reddit, but it didn't make any damn sense. So I'm suspect of the Reddit, the Reddit threads. You know what I'm saying, to say the least. But I'm going to be nice. I'm going to assume that this is a actual Stadia owner, and most of the people that interacted with this post are forthright Stadia customers that are being legitimate in their concerns and not just hating just for the sake of hating. All right. What happened was that post was taken out of context as far as them not being happy about Stadia not being forthright with information. And some of the people in the poster made the mistake of equating a lack of transparency to the term radio silence. But if you read the post, you understand that that was a slip, that they didn't intend to do that they didn't make the misassociation on purpose. But no, oh no, the puke pundits ran with that beautiful beam footage and everywhere. Stadia has been radio silent for 40 days. And a lot of us said, Google, you can't keep letting these publications get away with that. And Google responded. They responded with this article that they smacked down the notion that they were radio silent for 40 days. They basically say to GameIndustry.biz, through GameIndustry.biz, to these puke pundits, look, y'all, cut it, quit it. Y'all know we ain't been radio silent for 40 days. Just 11 days ago, prior to all this mess, we posted that we got 120 games coming, 10 of which are going to be exclusive to the platform within the first half of the year alone. Stop the foolishness, and they did well there. Here's where people like my friend Duncan believe that they stepped all over their message and they exposed themselves to, ridicule and misconstruing of their message, so he doesn't feel sorry for them. Okay, so as they address the lack of transparency and deep detail as it relates to game releases, this is what they said to GameIndustry.biz. It reads, they, as in Stadia, also address expectations surrounding the 120 titles. Quote, we understand the desire to hear more specific on games, the company told us. After all, that is what it is about, the games. Of course, not all 120 titles will be announced by the Stadia team, as we leave that up to the publishers to make the announcement about their IPs and games and which platforms it will appear on, just as we do with exclusive content coming to Stadia. Now, even my friend Duncan, who, if you go back again to my one-on-one with him, he's very critical of the messaging and he doesn't feel sorry for them. But even he says, I get it. I get why what they're saying there, it makes sense. I don't agree with their messaging, but I'm not going to attack them here because how? You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. In other words, the context to appropriately be derived here is that we're new to the game, baby. We're the new kids on the block. These relationships that we have are fragile. And they're especially fragile right now because we as Google, we're getting a lot of ire. We're probably getting phone calls left and right. What are y'all doing about this? What are y'all doing about that? Y'all know our product is releasing there. So people are probably not comfortable, jumping out of the window, too fast or too soon and announcing that they got stuff on our platform, whether it's exclusive or not. They're conscientious of the blowback. We don't want to step out of order. We're not like some entities, where they want to announce out of order when stuff is coming to Game Pass only to have their third-party relationships hindered because of it, and the people have to come out and release statements. The stuff that you heard from the owner of this business is wrong. You know, we're not going to operate like that. We appreciate our relationships and we understand the fragility that they're in right now. How can you get anything else from that, right? Well, leave it up to, again, the Pew pundits. Because you got people like my friend Paul Tassi here who headline tweets like this with, "I'm sorry, what?" I could just hear the smugness in what he was thinking in his head as he wrote this. And he's quoting an article from PC Gamer that states, quote, "Google responds to Stadia complaints, says it's up to publishers to announce games." And that's the full context that they leave it at in that title. How do you get that from this that I just read? That, again, even my friend Duncan said, hold on, I get where they were coming from here. There's a lot to attack in this messaging, but that right there makes How do you get that and this from, again, I'm disappointed to see my homeboy Matt Piscatella, a great stat provider and someone that I, associate with doing due diligence. He responds to, but I don't know, man. Look, here's the deal. How do you get that from that is the question. And then it made me reckon back to my conversation where Duncan was saying that, and I was like, yeah, you're right. We can't feel sorry for these billion-dollar companies. But again, we have the unsuspecting gamer that's caught in the middle of this. The hell with Google and all their money. The hell with the likes of Paul Tassi and everybody else that wants to bloviate and miscontort words for their own purpose. The unsuspecting gamer, who all they want to do is play and game the best way suitable for them, get caught in the middle of this BS, okay? There are those that are enthusiasts of cloud gaming, and want to see something at the level of performance that Stadia provides, that looked at the lineup and said, you know what? If this thing works the way that I've been hearing, 60 frames per second, you know what I'm saying? Smooth gameplay, easy transferable, fraction of the price. I ain't got to worry about hard drives and downloads. If it plays like that, $130 will be worth the investment, even in early access. I like the games that they have right now. I want to get into them. Let me try them. Those gamers are basically having the controller smacked out of their hand. You don't like that. It has carnivorous rivers. They're getting the controller smacked out of their hands for the sake of these big-headed pundits that want to be the all-seeing eye of everything. And it reminds me of an interaction that I had not too long ago. Speaking of Paul Tassi, he had put out a tweet out there where he was talking about the ires within the Stadia community, doom and gloom, imps falling from the sky, babies being stolen and thrown in volcanoes, all that crazy stuff that Paul Tassi likes to associate with Stadia, right? And within that thread, somebody said, hey, I'm curious, what has the best performance out of all the cloud services available? Somebody then, in response to that, went and tagged a well-known entity within the gaming community. That individual responded saying that they like Cloud Service B, you know what I'm saying, better. And they gave some reasons why. And the reasons were respectable and very legitimate. I didn't have any issue with it. But again, not thinking about Paul Tassi, not thinking about any entity with the blue check mark next to their name that's in their fields, thinking about the gamer, the unsuspecting gamer, who is innocent in all this. It's just the innocent bystander. I decided to add more context to the conversation because, again, it's a conversation. It's out on social media, out in the airwaves for everyone to participate. So I gave context, respectable of what was said by said entity, but just following up with, I personally like Stadia's version because of this, that, and the other. And I was met with nothing but vitriol. I couldn't understand it at first, where I had to calm down, what's going on? And then I stopped myself and said, you know what? Let me disassociate myself from the individual so we don't keep having these run-ins, because I see what's going on here. And what's going on here is simply this. People are not mad at Stadia because it's a quote-unquote half-baked launch. They're not mad at Stadia because they had a bad AMA. They're not mad at Stadia because of certain features they want to stream to YouTube. They've been mad at Stadia ever since it was Projekt Stream, and Google had the audacity to release a cloud-based gaming solution opposed to a dedicated device solution. They've been mad and in their feels ever since then. The internet never dies and never goes away. You can go back and do the footwork and look at the history. When this thing was Projekt Stream, these people were like, oh, that thing is never gonna work. It's not gonna work. Oh, what is this? What are they doing? Where's the dedicated solution? They've been caveating information, caveating facts, coming up with BS ever since then, lying about the performance, whatever they could do. Misconstruing information such as articles like this, whatever they could do to satisfy their own selfish needs. And so then I beckoned back to my conversation with Duncan. Even though I wholeheartedly respect where he's coming from and understand where he's coming from, and in a lot of regards hold it proper, in this case, I cannot give these puke pundits a pass in sacrifice of the unsuspecting gamer. They didn't come here for this garbage. All they want is information. And let them disseminate the information and come up with the best conclusion they can. Who the hell are you to tell them how to spend their money? And that's the thing that people don't get out of all this. They look at how talking about games and pronouncing what they like or what they don't like as some self-fulfilling prophecy. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Everything is self-fulfilling. I don't like Google Stadia, so therefore you best not like it. I need clicks. Therefore, this Google Stadia thing, redheaded stepchild, I'm gonna step all over it. I don't like the fact that I can't play with a lot of people on Destiny on this platform, even though it works well. So every turn that I get, I'm gonna sit here and talk about this thing and make the problem seem a lot wider than what they are. And again, I'm not saying this in benefit of Stadia. I'm not saying this to solely focus on the people that are guilty of these words. I am saying this as a shield for the unsuspecting gamer. And puke pundits, people with the big heads, people that can't get over the high numbers next to their name and the blue check marks, understand this. It's bigger than you. Take all those accolades that you have and apply it responsibly. We are not here for you. We are here to hear your take on what we feel might be the most suitable for us. And if you can't get that through your thick skulls, I don't understand the purpose of you being here. Besides bloviating, lying, and hoping that your ad revenue will satisfy and suit you in all this mess. And with that being said, that's it from your boy MM2K. Let me know what you think about what I had to say in the comment section below, because like I always say, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the PNTS Network, Broadband Bullies, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, here, the Stadia Dosage. And with that said, don't fall for the okie doke with all this rambling and bambling and all these falsehoods, people. You all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.